The Mike Hosking Breakfast with Arvida Retirement Communities. Life your way. News Talk ZB.
23 minutes away from 8, right to the business of the day, with the broad hope that butter will not be mentioned once in the next 10 or 15 minutes. The Prime Minister, Christopher Luxon, is with us. Very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike. Good morning.
Right, now, I don't want to start this on a superficial note, but I'm watching the netball last night, and you're at the netball. And you're Shane Rettying me with your jersey under your jacket, and I'm thinking, is the place freezing? What were you doing?
I went there, mate, with the jersey on, and then I realised I had to present the awards, and I had a sports coat with me, so I put it on top. I agree with you, not the ideal look. Shane Retty's the only person I know that sort of carries that off pretty well, but. Yeah, it was. But I appreciate you noticing those sartorial elements. These are
the small things I notice, and we'll probably talk more about it come election year. What I liked about the netball, funnily enough, and I haven't watched a lot of netball this year, is the joy in the. Absolutely. Is unreal.
Oh, that's why Amanda and I have been going. It's the second time I think we've been, because you go there and it's actually the cute part is seeing dads with their daughters, and they've been all face painted up, and the daughters are going off and they're dancing in the middle of the proceedings, and even the odd dad gets up and goes for a wiggle. So it's good. Yeah, it's good fun.
Goes for a wiggle. So Trump this morning, EU. The rest of us are getting a letter. Have we got an original letter yet or not?
No,
have we ever seen the letter?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the statements and comments that have been made.
It's 15.
Yeah, we haven't received. I am not aware that we've received our letter or a letter. Our last conversation with Jamison Greer, who's the Secretary of Trade, with Todd McClay, was a positive one, where they actually were very focused on other countries, obviously, and we don't want to be any worse off than anybody else. So.
No, okay, so your answer would be the same, and I've asked you this several times. If it's 15, it looks like it's 15. Can we trade our way through? It is what it is. That's life.
Well, pretty much, yeah. We agree with the Trade Secretary. We would look at it again at the end of the year and continue ongoing conversations with them. But we don't want to be any worse off than anybody else. Our New Zealand exporters into the North America, I check in with quite regularly, are actually doing really well, whether it's the Zespris, whether it's the red meat guys, the wine guys are obviously our second biggest exports there as well. A lot of them are saying they're able to pass it on to the American consumer, which is what has been happening. And again, a big market. Just remember, 360 million people. If you find wealthy retailers and wealthy consumers, you can still navigate your way through it.
Sounds Air, James Meagher, is there a possibility, one, when's his plan for allegedly regional New Zealand coming out in terms of the airlines? Is there a possibility that the government is going to get involved in regional airways in any way, shape or form?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's a pretty challenging business, regional airlines. Sounds Air is actually a really good operator. And there might be opportunities to get the settings right between, say, any in New Zealand through checking bags and those sorts of things. But we're not going to be in the business, I think, of underwriting regional air services.
So is James wasting his time?
Well, I mean, he's going to look at what else there might be to do. Might be, honestly, those through check type things that actually do make a difference to connect a regional airline into a bigger global network of customers. But, I think, as we've found in the past in New Zealand, it's a really challenging thing. Obviously, regional services are very difficult. But actually, underwriting all of that, I think, is pretty difficult.
Can't do it. Nearly half New Zealanders applying for Australian citizenship weren't born here. So there's your fun fact of the morning. Does that make us a springboard to get into Australia, and is that going to be an issue?
Yeah, look, I spoke to Erica Stanford and Brooke Van Velden about that just briefly in our offices, and because I saw that headline as well. But, I mean, the thing that I struggle to understand is if you're sitting offshore, the choices to go down a pathway for Australian citizenship or New Zealand citizenship, it's the same process pretty much. So I can't see why. I want to look into it a bit more and understand what's going on. But the bottom line is, if you're sitting offshore in South Africa and weighing up where you're going to go, we've actually got very similar processes. So I don't quite understand why you'd want to.
So it's not necessarily a thing. Elbow's not going to ring you up and go, "Hold on here."
No, we haven't had that conversation.
Okay. But, give me some good news on this foreigners buying houses.
Yeah, so I mean, you saw Winston last week. We're making progress. I know it's not the answer you want. You want me to tell me what the answer is right now, right today?
Correct.
I get it. But as I said to you last week to media, we've got the ongoing conversations. We honestly have.
What progress is being made?
No, we're making really good progress, which is to say...
What's the hold-up? Because I've had him on the program a couple of months ago. That's why last week I didn't think it was news. He told us several months ago the same thing he said last week.
Yes.
And he seems to understand it needs to be rectified.
No, he does. And the conversations are good and positive. What we're discussing is the mechanism by how we do it.
So what are you stuck on? Numbers for a house? How high the value of the house is?
That's one of the conversations, but there'll be other, we just want to make sure.
What do you mean there'll be? What are they?
I want to make sure we get the mechanisms right, and we've got the conversations in place.
Is it countries that are the problem?
No, it's
where
not.
they come from?
No. It's just,
is it the skills and the money they bring?
No, I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to get into it.
I'm just trying to work out.
I'll tell you what, you'll be the first to know when we land it.
Will you?
How about that?
Okay, good. Yeah. Promise me that I'll be the first, because I just don't understand what the hold-up is.
No, we've had really good conversations. Obviously, we had a policy at the election.
Yeah, I know what the policy was.
Completely. He had a position at the election which he's had to revisit completely. Both of us are prepared to do that.
Yeah.
We're working our way through it.
It just doesn't seem that complex to take months on end, because it's got to the point where, as far as I can work out, it's embarrassing. You've got a golden visa program, which by all accounts is a roaring success.
Yeah, we did more in 2 months than we did in the previous 2.5 years.
Terrific. And you can go rent a house. Thanks for coming.
Yep.
I mean, what's that about?
That's why we want to fix it.
And Winston gets that.
He does. He understands that investment is good, and if people are prepared to put their money where their mouth is and not just do speculative immigration as such.
So it's the type of investment.
No. But in fairness, we both want to make sure that actually, if you're going to come to this country and invest, we should say, well, thank you for bringing your capital here, and we should find a way for you to be able to purchase a house. We're both aligned on that. Okay. We're just working through the detail. I promise.
Will it be weeks or months?
I hope it's very shortly. Yeah.
Weeks.
Weeks probably. I could see the next few weeks of my life.
All I want is for this country to excel.
Tell me about it.
This seems to me to be one of the easiest decisions that you could possibly make.
It is. We are very close. We will have something to say about it shortly. I just don't want to get ahead of it. In fairness, Winston, you heard him say again last week, he's up for a position where if you've got people who are seriously putting serious money into New Zealand, that should be able to purchase a house.
Okay.
That's good.
Did I misunderstand the story last week on the vaping? So you back down on Crown law advice around vaping and battery type things, and whether they can be instant or not instant. Anyway, the point being, Crown law came to you and said you were being taken to court. Chances are you would lose. Yep. And so therefore you back down on that.
Correct.
What was going to happen, given this was Labor's law? What were they expecting to happen, apart from going to court and losing?
Well, I mean, all I know is that we had Crown advice that said, we needed to make the alteration to the law because we were going to be exposed legally around that, and that's, as I understand, what Casey Costello has done. We are making good progress, as you would have seen last week. I think Beagle Hole came out and said that we actually will be one of the first countries that we could be smoke-free, hit the 5% target.
You reckon we will?
Well, I think we'll be really close to it. I think there's been a big effort to it. Yeah. As Casey has identified before, she said it's really long-term smokers now that are really the challenge to move off, and that's a harder group.
Jared Kerr, you're watching him over the weekend with the Kiwi Bank, right? So they do their economic. The best region in the country is Otago and Southland.
Yeah.
5 out of 10.
Yeah, but
that's as good as it gets. Now, this is not political. I'm not trying to make this political. We need to do better.
Yeah,
part of that equation is the Reserve Bank needs to pull their finger out and get their act together.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
Well, you've heard them signal that they want to continue with, you've heard them say publicly they want to do more interest rate cuts.
Well, maybe in August.
Yep.
Does 25 points do it?
Well, I mean, again, it's about the fact of us getting inflation down. Which
you've done that. You've done that. Your bit's done. Yep. Your bit's done. But the power's not, and the rates aren't, and the insurance isn't, and the Reserve Bank are not playing their part. As good as it gets is 5 out of 10.
Well, I'd also say today, I don't know whether you saw, we had great farmer confidence numbers come through.
Yeah, but they're the only people who are confident. That's the point. The point, when you look at Otago, Southland, why is it 5 out of 10? That's where the farmers are.
Yeah, but I've been talking to the construction sector last week, and it's been brutal for those guys, right? They borrow huge amounts of money. The interest rates have been really high. They feel big booms, big busts, more so than any other sector. They've started to see, right, we've got $6 billion of proper projects, actual proper projects with real people doing real things before Christmas on those projects. They've been at the bottom of that, bubbling along, being bounced around construction, not being able to get financing in place for projects, not getting the demand for those projects. That's starting to improve, with that.
Do you honestly still believe that things are coming right?
Yeah,
I mean, materially, not just a bit, not green shoots, but materially.
Look, I do. I mean, I want to freely admit, it's been a very, very difficult time. When you look at the recession for 3 years, essentially it's been nothing like that since the early 90s, worse than the GFC. When you talk to a lot of people out there and economists out there. But we genuinely are. We are being led, you're right, out through a primary industries lens, which is as expected, as has always been the case. But actually, manufacturing, services, they've been really challenged, and they've had. But when I look at construction, starting to come, confidence building there, confidence in the rural sector. Difficult when we had a great first quarter, 0.8% GDP growth. If you think that times 4 is close to 3%.
Well, it's not times 4 because Q2 looks a little
But Q2 is challenging because all of a sudden in the middle of April, the whole world had to deal with something called Liberation Day, which causes huge loss of confidence.
You just told me we're working through that and we're selling big time, and there's kiwi fruit and there's wine in New York.
No, we are bilaterally, but also across the world, though, that causes quite a lot of a loss of confidence for people as well. But then you saw things like May, where we had our investment boost, launch go off in May, June. You've seen huge, good numbers of people wanting to invest.
Will you have an economy in 2026 election year to sell to the people and go, here's what we did?
That's what we have to do. We have that. And 2026 is going to be pretty simple. Are we better off than you were 3 years ago? Do you feel, which guys do you think are best gripped up to manage this economy? This country has a huge amount of potential where we don't just get to ride back the economic cycle. We actually have to choose to shape where we want this place to go. And I think that's the exciting work ahead of us. But difficult, tough, get it, but making progress.
Have a good week. Good to see you.
Mate.
12 away from 8.
Hello, Craig Duffy here. I lead a company called 445. We specialise in fixing leaky homes. If your property is failing due to weather tightness issues, 445 can help. Whether you require a deck rebuild, a house reclad, or a refurbishment prior to selling, we do it all. We'll provide a tailored solution that meets your budget and your needs. Got a leaky home? Visit 445.
Visit 445.co.nz. Experience the crew care difference. Crew care.
Looking for an opportunity to build your own business? Start your own cleaning business with Crew Care. You'll be joining one of New Zealand's fastest growing commercial cleaning companies with 12 weeks professional training, flexible working hours and a guaranteed income after 2 years. Find out more today.
Experience the crew care difference. Crew care.
crewcare.co.nz.
Paddock to Pantry is a new supermarket option. Proudly Kiwi owned and operated, delivering you better value by being online. They're here to give you more choice, more variety and